Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It's early this evening. It is 9:17 p.m. on this beautiful, I don't know how beautiful it is, but it's warm. It's 55 degrees outside. It actually feels warmer than that. It was, I'm gonna pull out my lip balm. I'm gonna use that lip balm that I had last night. Or did I take it inside? No, here it is. It was actually like in the mid 60s today. It was really, really nice. And man, I have been going all day long. I've been going all day long. That windshield wiper might need to be replaced. Woo! I have my green on today for St. Patrick's Day. And let's see, where to start? I had pulled into the gas station because I was sitting there and I was had forgotten to upload my Peterisms video. So I was like, well, I want to upload that, so I uploaded it really quick. And now I need to charge my phone. I actually got a new phone today. Alex and I, he made an appointment for us to go to the Apple store. So we went to the Apple store at noon today. Really nice guy that helped us too. I'm like a total idiot when it comes to all of that stuff. And like Alex is asking him all these questions about this and can I do that and whatever. And the guy was so nice and he was like, well, what do you want? And I go, I just want to turn on my phone and have it work, honestly. Like, I'm like a total technological idiot. Like, people don't believe that. They're like, well, you make YouTube videos. I'm like, it's really not that difficult. You upload a video and then you just publish it. It's just that simple, you know? And I mean, I know that there are people that do like extravagant, you know, use extravagant software and editing and all that kind of stuff. But that's not me. And I think we know that by now. I mean, my specialty is I drive around in a car and I talk, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not really a specialty. So, but anyway, so yeah, but after that, I have just been going. And, so we are leaving for Florida on Saturday morning. We kind of like threw this together to see if we could make it happen. We have been talking to the agents that we were referred to by our friend. And so this is like a good time for us to go. And we have like, we've been, you know, like looking at places online. It's actually two people that we're working with. We've been looking at places online with them. And now we need to go see some of these places. We kind of need to just like look at some of the neighborhoods first, and then we also need to see like what's realistic, because there are some places that we like that you can get a 500 square foot condo for $1.5 million. And then there are places that are realistic and there's a complete difference. So we need to actually go and like look at places because we're wanting to start. We want to have a realistic idea of what that's going to look like financially for us going into it. You know, it's been this pipe dream for us for so long to have a place in Florida. And our goal had been to, well, originally our goal had been for us to have a place down there by the time I was 55, and we were really leaning towards 55. I would like to personally have a place a little bit earlier down there, you know. But originally, I wasn't really into that idea at all, and now I think I'm more into it than Alex is. But I would like to have a place down there sooner rather than later, because then we could go back and forth. You know, we could be down there for 3 weeks, we could be here for 3 weeks. I also want to develop a 12-step support network down there in South Florida, which is, I'm actually really excited about that, about meeting, and I know a few people that are sober that live down there. Actually, one of the women that is part of my literature group on Monday nights that the group that we put together last year, one of the women that's in there, she used to live here, but now she lives in South Florida. So I actually know several people down there that are sober. So I'm excited about that piece of it, but we really need to figure out like exactly where we want to be, what that looks like, and really realistically what we can afford. That's the next step. the step after that, and kind of actually going in and looking at like what this place, like not necessarily a place, but like what a place would look like in a price range, if that makes sense, for square footage and things like that. So this was kind of like a trip that we kind of threw together, and so yeah, so we're leaving Saturday morning. Now, y'all know I love to pre-film stuff, and part of the problem is I don't really know what our day-to-day thing is going to look like, because, you know, some of it's going to be, you know, Alex and I just relaxing, and some of it is going to be us, a lot of it's going to be us going to these places and looking. So, you know, the reality of me sitting in a room and just recording videos is just, that's not going to happen. So, you know, I like to pre-film videos. So I'm trying to pre-film videos for every day, for my review video channel, and for my Peterisms channel. And so I'm trying to do that. And then, of course, I'll vlog when I'm down there. I actually had thought about, because I haven't done this since PP passed away and we went to Mexico, I'd actually thought about just taking the whole time off and not filming anything and just being like, hey, I'm gonna take a break for a little while and whatever. But I just don't think that I can do, I love it too much. And the reality is this, is that what it's gonna look like for me is, you know, doing a 20-minute drama video, which at max takes me 40 minutes to film and put up, and then doing a vlog at the end of the day, which you guys know I love to do that. And part of what I love is also just kind of filming and talking at the end of the day, you know. Usually Alex goes to sleep or is watching a show, and then I'll just, like, you know, step out on the patio like I've done, you know, in past vacations, and vlog for a little bit. So, excited about that. Really excited about that. And I think the weather is supposed to be rather nice while we're down there. So yeah, I'll be vlogging every day that I'm gone, unless something would come up, and then I would let you guys know that I'm not vlogging for a day. But today I left the Apple store, and then I had to film, well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to film a drama video, a Peterisms video. I wanted to do a video on every single one of my channels today, but it just got like so late because I was running around from all these Starbucks, filming videos, pre-filming review videos. That was so fun. So I would like go from, I literally went to all these Starbucks, and I went from like Starbucks to Starbucks, and in between I listened to my audiobook, Sanitarium, which is fantastic. It is so good, you guys. I'm so happy that I picked that book, because I think I would have picked it originally. I would have picked it anyway, just to read. But I don't know that I would have picked it as soon as I did, and I'm glad that I started it when I did. It's really, really good. So I'm trying to actually finish that before we leave, because I want to start. I was like looking through my books today, and I was like, I want to start that Andrew Main, the sequel to The Girl Beneath the Sea. It's called Black Coral. I want to finich that, or I want to start that, because that actually takes place in South Florida. So, and then I was doing that, and then I got home, and, you know, had to keep on going back and let the pups out and stuff, and was filming some Peterism stuff, filmed my drama video, did this, did that, was on the phone talking to people, you know. It was a busy day. I feel very, very fulfilled. Not fulfilled is the word I'm looking for. I feel like I got a lot done today. Like, I'm proud of myself. Except for that, I wanted to do a booktube video. I've been meaning, this graphic novels video I've been wanting to do for so long, and I have all these graphic novels, which that alone is not that big of a problem. I have really no other place besides where they're at in the kitchen, because they're like in this kitchen counter area right there. I have really no other place other than just throw them in the basement, which I don't want to do, to put them right now. I mean, I have books everywhere you can possibly have books. And when we redo the house, we're actually going to buy another set of bookshelves. And I'm also going to get rid of a lot of books that I have on my bookshelves, because there's books up there that I'm probably never going to read, and then there's books up there that I've already read and I don't know why I'm holding on to them. So I'm going to get rid of a lot of those books. But we're going to get another set of bookshelves. So probably where the picture is, the lady, the lady with the butt, you know, her, we'll probably take that down and put a bookshelf there instead. Well, that was kind of what we had talked about. And then we want to like lower the fireplace and put a TV over the fireplace. That's kind of our plan when we redo the condo. Which hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later. We're looking at next fall, early winter. And well, we'd like to start it early fall and maybe have it done by winter if we could. That would be really nice. Now I say that and watch, it'll be a year from now and we still want to start it. But we'll see. I think sometimes people get confused, like why we haven't started a lot of this stuff yet. And like the conversations that we've had is, there's a certain order to how we want things done, if that makes sense. And I want things done so that we actually have savings left, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to just take all of our savings and redo the house and refurnish it and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that. Like I want to comfortably redo our house. You know, you guys, I've talked a lot on here about like paying off debt and Dave Ramsey and all that stuff that I believe in, and part of it for me is, you know, having livable savings that you still have there, like, you know, safety net. I think that it's important, and it's important to me, and it's very important to Alex as well. And so we want to make sure that when we redo the house, it's not, you know, like going to cost us everything that we have. And we could do like a room at a time, but I also, like, to be honest with you, the difference between living in construction for 2 to 3 months versus living in construction for a year and doing a room at a time is not real appealing to me. So, and we're also trying to figure out like how we want to do it first, you know. Although everybody is telling us they think we should redo the basement first, which I'm totally down for, so that we actually have a livable space down there. And if we, what's that sound? When we redo the basement, we're going to put a bathroom down there with a shower. So, then when we redo the bathroom upstairs, that would actually, like, you know, we wouldn't have to move into a hotel. That's the only, you know, shower that we have in the house. So that would actually give us a place that we could, you know, take a shower and do that stuff and get ready and do that stuff. Take a shower and get ready and all that kind of stuff. Plus, it would give us a living space when the rest of the condo is being worked on, and it would give the dogs a living space and things like that. So that's probably what we'll do, is redo the basement first. And, you know, have the drywall put up and like have it actually made into like a really nice living space. Our friend's house that we went to, their basement is like almost exactly the same size as ours. Our basement is really actually pretty big. It's the full size of the condo. And like completely empty. Like, and I want to have cabinets put into it. Like Alex likes this idea too, but I want to have cabinets put into one wall that, you know, we could store all of our stuff in the basement. So we still have like a lot of storage down there, you know, but then so it would be like, well, you can't, you'd have to see it to understand, but like our stairs go like down this and then down, and then there's like the dog's house like right there. Instead, it would go down, and then there'd be the landing, and then that landing would go down right into, it would open into the basement, and to the right of that wall would be like storage, if that makes sense, like cabinets that would be built out a little bit, that we could actually put like Christmas decorations in, or, you know, old clothes or things like that. So we could have that stuff in there, you know, and yeah, so we could have that stuff and we could actually, you know, like store it in there and whatever. And you know, we have at times talked about, like, depending on down the road, we don't know like what will happen, like renting the condo out, you know, at some point for like an Airbnb or something like that. And if we did that, then we could just lock our stuff up in there, and the rest of the condo, you know, like somebody could come and stay in and stuff like that, if that makes sense. Like if you've ever stayed in an Airbnb, like there's usually a couple locked rooms where people store stuff. And then we would have like a storage space, like when we left, you know, we could just go in there and we could store that stuff. And then where the laundry room is, I swear I just thought I saw something like move over here. That freaked me out. And then where the laundry room is, that would be made into, well, it's just all out and open now. That would be made into the bathroom and the laundry. It would be like split. So the laundry room would be in back, and then the laundry room would be the last room. Then you'd like go through the bathroom into the laundry room. That makes sense. But anyway, that's, you know, exciting. So we've got exciting things to look forward to. Yeah, and what else? I don't know what else. So anyway, that was my day. Accomplished. Accomplished is the word that I was looking for earlier. I felt very accomplished today. And Alex worked hard all day long. He was gonna go to hot yoga tonight with his girlfriend, but she, her mom and dad, her dad and stepmom were going to this restaurant, Wolfie's, in Indianapolis. There's two of them. There's one on like 96th Street in Fishers, and then there's another one like out on Morse Reservoir in Noblesville. They were having like a St. Patrick's Day party, I think with like a tent and stuff. So Alex said that they had decided that they were gonna go grab a beer with her dad and stepmom instead. So Alex went and had a green beer, and then he came home. It's funny because I was thinking about this today. I used to have so much anxiety around St. Patrick's Day. It was kind of the same thing with like New Year's Eve, but I don't know why St. Patrick's Day was so much worse. I mean, you know, when I was growing up, I would wear, you know, a green shirt to school so you don't get pinched and all that stuff. But it was like, St. Patrick's Day was never this thing for me that, it just wasn't this thing for me. Like, it's never been like I mean, it's fine, whatever, holiday, but it's never been a holiday that I've really like enjoyed that much. And since I got sober so young, like, I don't feel like, I feel like it's almost kind of like, maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but like as far as like a drinking holiday, it almost feels like kind of like an older drinking holiday. You know, like in your late 20s, early 30s. Like, I remember my mom talking about like how much fun like St. Patrick's Day was in Chicago when she lived in Chicago, and they, you know, they do the River Green and things like that, and she loved it, and she would always talk about it, you know, and how much fun it was. And she and my dad would go to all the bars and, you know, all the Irish bars, and they would have, you know, green beer and stuff like that. But I think maybe I was too young for like enjoying that whole, like, I don't know, like when I like came out and started going out, like, I kind of vaguely remember doing stuff for St. Patrick's Day and going out and drinking, but not like tons, right? But when Alex and I got together, we started on St. Patrick's Day going to, with a bunch of our friends. It was this restaurant that's in Noblesville. I think it's still there, and it's called Moe's. And it's like an Irish pub. We actually used to go there on Wednesday nights with a bunch of people that Alex worked with and their significant others, and we would go there and they did karaoke. It was fun. It was like a lot of, like, there was like 5 of us young couples that used to all hang out together. A couple of us still do. One of the couples, well, 2 of the couples actually, well, that's not true. One of the couples, I mean, it's true kind of. One of the couples went to the wedding last year that we went to in February. One of the other couples that we used to hang out with, she's just not with the same guy anymore. She's married to somebody else now. And they were actually in Dallas for the wedding as well. And that was fun. And so we still see those couples sometimes. And some of them aren't together anymore, and some of them are split up, which is so weird to me to think. It feels like, sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday. But we used to do karaoke on Wednesday nights, and I didn't sing karaoke. I was scared of my shadow. I'm not a big I can remember one time they made me get up there and sing Greased Lightning, and I was like so scared. I don't like, I know people would think like I totally love karaoke, but I do, like, that's something that like scares me. I probably could do it today because YouTube has really helped me with like my social anxiety and getting out of myself a little bit. But back then it was so hard and scary for me, you know, period. I just was terrified all the time. So I always sat, I can see myself sitting on this bar stool, like, that was up against the wall of this table, and that's where I would sit, and they would, like, all go up there and sing and stuff. Alex wasn't a big singer, but he would go up there every once in a while if, like, it was, like, a group thing, you know, or something like that. Like, a couple of the girls wanted to sing something, they wanted to do it together as a group, he would go. I feel like there was a John Mellencamp song that one of our friends' husbands had me go up there, too. One of our friends' husbands actually made it to the final audition round of American Idol. He's like incredible singer, but he told us that like some stuff was like real sketchy with all of that, like how you make it on American Idol, that basically they've picked you before you make it to like the television round or something like that. I don't know. He's a good looking guy. He's a phenomenal singer. He would have been great on American Idol. I really don't know why he didn't get picked. I mean, he's not just like a karaoke singer either. He's like an incredible singer. But he didn't get picked. So anyway, I actually know quite a few people that like audition for shows like that and stuff. Singing shows. What's the other one? The Voice. I think Alex's friend auditioned for The Voice. But anyway, we used to go to this tent party at Moe's for St. Patrick's Day. I honestly don't even know why I went. You know, when Alex and I first started dating, I was not active in a 12-step program, and that's the period of my life that was the worst. When I talk about I didn't have emotional sobriety, I mean, I was so codependent upon my relationship with Alex. I had such fear of missing out that, like, I always had to be places, you know, that I could never have just been like, I mean, people are like, I get comments from people that are like, you know, like, oh, you know, like you and Alex don't ever spend any time together, which is funny because you guys don't actually, like, I mean, I only show or tell you, you know, it's based on what you see, and I understand that, right? But the reality is, when we first got together, like our first couple years, and this really affected our marriage to the detriment. Like, if Alex was going out to dinner with a girlfriend, I was going out to dinner with a girlfriend. If I was going to see a movie with a friend, Alex was coming to see a movie with a friend, or with my friends. If Alex, you know, if we were going to go, if it was a Saturday night and he was going out, I was going out too. And I'd stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, every single time. And it got to the point where we were, like, on top of each other all the time, that A, we never got to miss each other, you know, like, except for being at work, and B, it was kind of almost smothering on both ends, and C, it really, really wasn't healthy. But I would put myself in situations that I had no business being in, because God forbid I actually sit at home and just watch a movie and let Alex go out, you know, and watch movies, or, you know, like, go do something with Tanya and get a fountain pop or something. Like, I had to be out in the middle of it. I just constantly felt like I was going to miss something, you know? And then Alex, you know, would be like, you know, don't you want to come? And so anyway, I mean, this was a huge part of our marriage counseling. Like, really allowing each other to have our own independence, which is so healthy for us today. And I can remember, I dreaded St. Patrick's Day like nobody's business, you guys. Literally for that first 3 or 4 years. Dreaded it. I can remember going to that tent party, and, you know, it was never Alex, because I was always driving anyway, and he really never got that intoxicated. But the people that we were with, I mean, it's amateur night, and I was always, like, you know, it was interesting tonight, because you know, like, Alex was texting me, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna go get a beer with, you know, so-and-so, and a green beer with so-and-so, and her dad and stepmom. I was like, okay, we've come a long way, because, you know, back in the day, and then came home after the beer, you know, back in the day, our friends would be like, just one more round, Alex, just one more round, you know, do a shot of Jaeger, and all this kind of stuff, and he'd look at me, and I'd be like, if you want, I mean, but, like, I'm ready to go, and, you know, we'd finally go, but our friends literally would stay until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, would take off the next day. And I'm like sitting there, and of course, like, I don't drink, so it's no fun for me. I'm standing in a tent. Usually, it's not today, it was nice today, but St. Patrick's Day in Indianapolis is usually cold. It's snowed before on St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure, you know, it's because it's cold. I can remember a couple of St. Patrick's, it was just like freezing cold outside. And so I'm like, wait a second. This must have been the second year going forward, because the first year we were in, was was that the first year or the second year? That was the first year. We were in Florida for St. Patrick's Day. So it would have been like the second, third, and fourth year. But after that, we would be standing there, and Alex would look at me and be like, babe, let's go. And I'd be like, okay. But like my friends would be like, no, you guys stay. And I'd be like, okay, wait, Alex, we can stay just a little bit longer, because I didn't want to miss out on what our friends were doing. Friends that I don't even have contact with today. Friends that I called and said, I'm going back, you know, to the rooms of recovery, and I'm not going to see you if I don't go out, but I would love to keep our friendship going. And I don't see them anymore because, quite frankly, going out was more important to them than keeping the friendship, because I tried to like make lunch dates and stuff, you know, and here I am sacrificing my own happiness and mental health, standing in a tent on St. Patrick's Day, miserable because everybody's drunk, spilling beers, bottles dropping, breaking everywhere, and I'm just like, I can remember getting home one time and saying to Alex, like Alex said, like he was like, he could really tell I was like, you know, rattled. And he said, babe, are you okay? And I said, it's just a lot, you know? And he was like, I don't know why you keep on putting yourself in the middle of it. Like, you do not have to do that. And if you want me to stay home and not go, I don't have to go, you know? Like, and I was like, no, but I want you to have fun. Like, I really think, like, Tanya used to say, this is what I was going to say. I remember, like, you know, later or the next day getting Tanya and just crying and being like Tanya, like, I don't know, like like I don't know what's like wrong, like I can't handle these situations. And I'll never forget, you know, because she said this to me several times, but that time she really did. And she said, I don't know how you don't drink. Like, I don't know how you put yourself in that situation and don't drink. And I really think the reality was that I was so sick in the head that I was living vicariously through other people. Now, I didn't buy people alcohol, I didn't buy people shots, but I stood right there while they drank. You know, that was always a limit. I said, I don't buy alcohol. Even to this day, I really don't. Like, if Alex and I go out to a bar, like, he buys the drinks. Now, if we go out to a dinner or something, I'll buy him a glass of wine or whatever, but I don't buy alcohol. Like, that's like, you know, it's one thing to have a glass of wine or a beer if we're with Melissa and Jason's having a beer or a glass of wine. You know, it's another thing to go out, and I don't buy alcohol. I just don't, you know? And, and Alex has always understood that and been respectful of that. And so I can remember saying that, just crying to Tanya and being like, it's so hard. I feel like we went to a lot of these tent parties back in the day. It's like, for football games in downtown Indianapolis, we would do, you know, Alex had a lot of friends from IU when he moved up here that were promo models. So they would work for Jaeger, like Jägermeister. And so, you know, he had a lot of friends, so we would go where they went. And when there were like, do you guys know what promo models are? Promo models, like, they go around, they carry shots at like parties. And so we went to everything, you know? And it was a lot, you know? And the thing is that Alex didn't know that it was a lot. I mean, I would say sometimes, but not very often. He didn't really know because he wasn't there for my drinking, and so he didn't understand that, like, I had literally thrown myself in the lion's den. I mean, you know, flash forward 7-8 years or however long it was when we were in counseling, and I would share some of these stories of how hard it was with me, and he would look at me and he would say, babe, I never knew. Like, I never knew. And how could he? Because I never shared that with him. I never told him. Because I was afraid, I think, you know, and my sponsor and I have talked a lot about this, that if I had said to him, like, this is, you know, this is unhealthy for me, I shouldn't be out, you know, in these situations, he would have said, well, we're not going to go anymore, you know? And then I think I was vicariously living through all of that. I really do. I think I was vicariously living through everybody else's drinking and stuff. But I can remember, God, I hated St. Patrick's Day. I was terrified of it. And, it's interesting because I'm like, in my head, I keep on seeing this one scene over and over and over again. And we were standing there and we were talking to, like, a couple of our friends that are couples. And two of our friends, these two guys, kind of, like, got into it. And they're, like, big guys, like, you know, tough guys. And the one guy was like, like took this, he had his hand like a cup of beer, you know, in his hand, like a plastic cup, and he was like, no, and when he went like that, it like spilled onto my like other friend, and my friend took his bottle and like threw it down. Like, I'm in recovery in the middle of this. There's something, it stopped right when I was making my point, but like, I'm like in recovery, right? Like, there's something wrong with the fact that I'm right in the middle of this picture, you know what I mean? So then I remember coming back in to the rooms of recovery, and I can remember talking about that and the 500, the Indy 500, which is the race. Alex goes every year to the Snake Pit, which is like in the middle of the racetrack, and they have bands. Well, they used to, when I was growing up, it was like, they had bands like, I mean, it was like all like bikers out there, and it would be like, you know, like Def Leppard or Leonard Skinner, and I mean, it was bands, you know, and all motorcycles out there and stuff. Now, it's like a college fest, and it's all DJs. Well, it's not that young of an age, but it's all DJs. Like Martin Garrix played out there, Marshmello. So anyway, I went the first year that they kind of turned it into that. And that was the year before I came back into the rooms. And and Alex wanted to stay for one DJ. There was like one DJ he wanted to see. He's like, I don't care about it, I just want to stay for one DJ. And he was like, you are not going to have any fun. Well, he had gotten like VIP tickets, and so we could just like drive in and all this kind of stuff. But then we ended up not being able to drive in. We had to park like 2 miles away and whatever. And I had never been to the race before. Maybe one time. Race weekend in Indiana and Indianapolis is like a big deal. It's a lot of fun. But like, Friday is carb day. Everybody goes out there. They get completely ripped drunk. They get burnt. Like, everybody's got sunburns. Saturday, everybody like Friday night, everybody parties. People camp out at the Speedway like the whole weekend. And it's just tons and tons and tons and tons of drinking and other things. And then Saturday, everybody kind of sleeps because everybody gets to the racetrack at like 6 a.m. on Sunday, you know? Well, the DJ started at like 8 a.m. and they were done by like 11, but the race doesn't usually end until like 2 or 3. So we were out there so early, and Alex was like, if you don't want to come, don't come. He was like, but I really want to stay and see this DJ. Well, and I was like, okay. And I said, no, I want to go. Here again, the fear of missing out. And what I just really needed to realize was there's a lot of places that my husband can go that I can't go because he's not an alcoholic, you know, and I have no business being there. And that doesn't mean that he can't. That doesn't mean that he shouldn't, you know? That means he should be able to go do those things, and I can do something different, you know, those days. So, but I forced it, and I went, and I was miserable. I was miserable. And you know what was so hard about it was the DJs were fine and stuff like that, and we knew a lot of the local DJs, so we got to go up there and, you know, talk to them and stuff. That was fun. But within about a half an hour of being there, it was constant, like, seeing people pass out on the ground, or you would see somebody like holding their phone and they're passed out over there. I mean, I saw so many people passed out, and it made me really, really sad. Like, I have a hard time seeing that, and maybe it's because it's a mirror for me, I don't know, but I have a really hard time seeing that blatant, like, substance use. Like, it's really, really hard for me, you know, and thinking about the safety issues and all that kind of stuff. Like, and I've tried really hard in my life to not be the preacher since I've gotten sober, if that makes sense. You know, like, if people want to talk to me about their issues or whatever, I'll talk to them about it. But I've tried not to be the preacher and been like, well, since I got sober, everybody else, you know what I mean? Like, I try not to be that. But, so I remember the next year, you know, I came back into the rooms, like, in January, into recovery. And so I was talking about that stuff. I was talking about missing out, you know? I'm talking about my husband and what, I mean, it took us a little while to get used to, like, Friday nights we had date night, Saturday night, Alex would go out and I would go to a candlelight meeting, and then afterwards I would go to Steak and Shake with my, you know, friends in recovery. I just straight up said a friend of mine's name, like first and last. Or hang out on Judy Smith's back patio. I said that. I was like, what? You know, or I would, like, you know, go to Steak and Shake with my friends and, you know, or, you know, whatever. And then we kind of, like, you know, roll in at the same time. And then Sunday, we would go to brunch. And we used to go to a lot of movies on Sunday afternoons back then, take a nap, you know, have a romantical Sunday afternoon, and then go to work, you know. And it worked so perfectly. And I realized that I didn't have to be part of that world anymore, you know. And I didn't go out for a long time. And I don't really miss it today. Like, it's fun for me to go out every once in a while, but I don't really miss it today at all, you know. Not to say that, like, I wouldn't go, but, like, because there are certain situations that I would want to go, you know, like, well, when Alex got tickets to see Rufus Du Sol here in town, like, that was really fun, and we went with, you know, my brother and sister-in-law and some other people, and that was really, really fun. But I don't have this need to, it's just, the thing is now, like, I haven't actually, I mean, you know, because of COVID and stuff, but, like, even before that, I wasn't really going out with Alex that much, but it's almost kind of perfect at this point, because if we do go out together, we'll drive together, but then, like, it's with a total understanding that when I'm ready to go, I go. Like, when I've had enough, it's time for me to go. And not be rude about it either, but be like, okay, hey babe, I'm gonna go home, you know, have fun, I'm gonna go vlog or whatever, you know, and he'll say, okay, I love you, and then he'll take an Uber home, you know, and so it's safe, it's, you know, we have a good time, but I don't feel like I have that need to be part of that anymore. But when I came back into the rooms, that March swung around, and St. Patrick's Day was coming up, and I knew I was going to want to go to that party. I knew I was going to want to go to that Moe's tent party. There used to be a tent party in front of my old office, too, at, if you live in Indianapolis, my office used to be right across from Connor's Pub in Broad Ripple, and Connor's Pub is like an old Irish, I'm sure they had a tent party there tonight. They always usually do on well, maybe not this year, but they always usually do on St. Patrick's Day. A really loud big one, and this Irish band plays there with bagpipes and stuff. So St. Patrick's Day was coming up, and I was like, I want to go to the tent party, you know, like I felt like I needed to be there. Like, I had this fear of missing out again, you know. And what do they call that? FOMO, fear of missing out. And I can remember talking about it in meetings, you know, and people would come up to me afterwards and they'd say, you know, you have no business being there, right? Like, and I was like, I know, but, like, I've gone every other year, and I would say, and it's so much fun. Isn't that sad? It was no fun. But I was convinced, you know, and that's living in the lie. That's when we live in the lie, you know, in addiction. And that's me not even picking up. That's me not even drinking and living in the lie and believing I'm having good times when I'm not, you know. My sponsor always says that, don't live in the lie. And and that's believing something that isn't true, you know. It's like we say in recovery, don't drink on the lie, you know. Don't, like, drink because you think it's going to make things better, or because you think it's going to take away your pain, or you think it's going to take away your emotions. That's like drinking on the lie. You know that's not true. I have never in my life drank or used some substance that permanently changed things for the better. Period. Never. Only usually made things worse. Maybe numbed or muted the pain for a while, but didn't take it away. So I got through St. Patrick's Day that year, and you know, I had to start accepting the fact that other people in my life, and other people, period, could go places and have fun. And I think it's interesting, like, this was something I knew. If you had asked me that in recovery, I would have said, well, sure, I know that, you know. But it was like, for the first time in my life, I was really fighting it inside, you know, that other people in my life and outside of my life could go to places that maybe I couldn't or shouldn't. And not just because I might drink, because I didn't feel like I was going to drink, but maybe I was closer than I thought I was. I don't know, you know. I've asked myself that a lot. but really because it wasn't going to make me happy being there, and I had no business being there. You know what I mean? And you know, in recovery, we're taught that if you have a reason for being somewhere, it's okay to be in a bar, or they call them whoopee parties, or, you know, a place that serves alcohol. We're not told that we can't go to those places. We're told that we can if we have a reason to be there, but check your motives. Why are you going? Okay? So if I'm going to hear a band or a DJ, or I have a friend that's going to be there or whatever, or I want to meet up with somebody I haven't seen for a while, like, those are all legitimate reasons to be in a place that serves alcohol. It's fine. I can do that as a person in recovery. But take somebody that's sober with me, number one. Number two, leave when I'm ready to go. You know, number three, ask myself, what is my spiritual foundation today? And am I in any position to go? Well, hell, when I look back at that 4 years of my life that I was going into places I had no business going into, and the reason I say I had no business going into it was because I had no spiritual foundation. I had no emotional sobriety. I was so close to a drink and I didn't even know it. And that's a scary place to be. That's probably the scariest place to be as an alcoholic and an addict, when you are really, really close to using and you can't even see it. If you've ever lived or been around somebody that's an alcoholic or an addict, like, I can remember my mom at one point in her sobriety, and she was so miserable, and I can remember saying to her something about, well, have you thought about getting another sponsor? And she said, I don't want to get another sponsor. And I said something about, like, well, you know, you get invited to go do stuff a lot. It was just like a short period of her life, but of her sobriety. I mean, people are sad and upset and angry in recovery too, you know. And I can remember she just was like, she was so upset, and I said, you know, like, you're not happy. Like, what is this out of focus? I can't see. I was like, you're not happy in sobriety, and you're not, like, doing the work. Like, we have to do the work to feel happy, you know? And it's scary, you know? I remember her saying to me later, like, I think I was closer to wanting to drink than I actually even thought that I was. So I made it through St. Patrick's Day that year, and then realized, you know, when Alex came home and was like, it really wasn't that big of a deal and it wasn't that fun, that I didn't miss out on anything. But I'm telling you, the race that year, that was another story. I was wanting to go to that race. And Alex had 2 VIP tickets again. He used to get them from the radio station that we used to do some stuff with, the work stuff, Radio Now. And so he had 2 VIP tickets, and that year it really was like you just drove right up into the snake pit, and then you're literally right there. But if I was going to drive, then we were going to do that. If not, he had another couple that we're friends with, and they don't really drink or anything, and they were going to drive, and he was going to take his brother. And he was like, I want to know, like, do you want to go? And I mean to tell you, I went back and forth on this thing so much. My sponsor, like, at that time, would not come out and say no. He was like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm telling you based on experience, I wouldn't go. I had no business being there. You know, and I was like, oh, well, okay. You know, I mean, everybody was saying it, but I wasn't hearing what I wanted, you know. I was hearing what I wanted to hear at that point. And so I just was like, what to do. And I would bring it up in meetings, and I mean, people looked at me like I was crazy. Like, why are you even, it's one day, why are you even making a big deal about this? It's stupid. I look back on it and I think, oh, this is so stupid that I made any big deal about it. And so I ended up telling Alex, like, 2 days before, I was like, I don't think I should go. I don't want to go. And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I regretted it. I was like, oh, but he's going to have such a great time with Fufu, and there's going to be, oh, that's my brother-in-law, and there's going to be, you know, such great DJs, and it's going to be so much fun, and they're going with this other couple that we're friends with. They were going with our attorney and his wife. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so much fun. I literally, they hadn't even started getting ready to go to this thing yet, and I had fear of missing out. I had the FOMOs, you know? So, do we call it that? I don't know. What is going on? Why is it going in and out? I feel like it's going in and out constantly. Is it out of focus? I can't even tell you guys because I don't have my reading glass. There, it looks pretty clear. So I remember Alex went with Fufu that day. And Fufu brought a bag and stuff over, and he was going to stay at our house afterwards. They were going to go to a party afterwards, but they ended up not doing that because they ended up not getting back to our house until like 6 or 7. And I had gone to the grocery store and I had bought like frozen pizzas and pizza. Alex always calls them pizza bites. Pizza bites? Is that what they're called? No, pretzel bites. That's what Mel had that she brought. Pizza. Totino's pizza. What are they called? The pizza thing. You know, anyway, I brought chips and dip and Cokes and stuff like that and, you know, soft drinks. And so when they got back, they were so hungry, and so they, you know, ate a little bit, and then we were sitting there, and we, like, put on some movie. I can't remember what we put on. It was like Transformers or something. Like, it wasn't Transformers, because we actually saw that in the movie theater with Fufu. We took him to see that when he was in high school. But it was some movie like that. I can't remember, some action movie. And we were all sitting there, and I remember, like, you know, Alex and Fufu fell asleep, like, watching the movie and stuff, and it was really nice, and I didn't feel like I missed out on anything, you know? I felt like, well, it ended the way that it should have ended, with me sitting at home, and, you know, we made all these, you know, this pizza and chips, and we had a, you know, heyday on treats in the kitchen, and we watched a movie, and it was fun. It was nice, you know? And I remember talking to Tanya later, and I was like, I'm so glad I didn't go. And she was like, babe, you have no business being there, you know? Doesn't mean that you're not going to miss out on stuff, but, and today, I don't have that anymore. But I had to work through that, you know? I had to realize that as an alcoholic and an addict, there are some places that I just don't have any business being, you know? Tailgating's another one, and I had to learn that the hard way. Alex and I, we went tailgating, like, the first couple months we were together with some friends of his. It was disaster city. So then Alex said to me, like, the following year, he said, I have never seen so many wasted, drunk people, and I'm including, like, grown adults, too, like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, okay? In one place in my entire life, other than, and it was the Ball State IU game at IU, and it was a mess. I have never seen so many fights, physical, bloody fights. I have never seen so many police. I mean, it was like, we found out later that, like, all these people got arrested at tailgating. It was, like, out in this field or something. I didn't go to a college campus, and I don't understand the need for all of that. I don't enjoy it. It's not fun. I don't like it. So anyway, so the following year, Alex was like, because we met up with a bunch of his friends, you know, that were still down at IU, when we went tailgating that first year. So the next year, he was like, I want to take you tailgating, but I want to take you the way that I think you'll enjoy it and the way that it should be. And I was like, okay. Yet again, walking right into the lion's den, you know? And he tried so hard. We went down there, and it was with, we met up. It was like one of Alex's friends. He had like 3 gay guys that he was really good friends with in college. One of them actually, the one I'm talking about, he actually lives in Denver now. Super nice guy. Used to be in the military, and he was actually the one that for our bachelor party gave me the book, the Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. He gave me that at the bachelor party. That was like one of the nicest gifts I got, because it was so, like, he really thought about who I was as a person. So we meet up with him, and then this other friend of ours, this couple, that Alex knew her from college, and they actually, she and her husband today, started dating the summer after Alex and I started dating. And, they actually were at our wedding, and they got engaged. He proposed to her in front of the Bellagio the day after we got married, and then we were in their wedding a year later. So we're real close with this couple. And so we met up with them, and it was like Alex's friend grilling out. It was tailgating. It was like grilling out, food, blah, blah, blah. Well, then one of them was another friend, like, walked over. I mean, nobody was drunk, nobody was intoxicated, there wasn't a lot of alcohol or drinking. And then somebody was like, well, we should walk over to The problem was, none of these situations were ever with like Alex drinking too much, you know, or even like the immediate people sometimes that we were with that were drinking too much. It just was an overabundance of drinking behavior. It just was like a lot of drunkenness. And if you're a person that, you don't even have to be a sober person to just be a person that goes out some nights and doesn't drink, you'll totally know what I'm talking about. There becomes a point where it's too much, and it's almost like a fear factor kicks in. And that's kind of how it was for me that night. I don't know, it was too much. On those separate occasions, where am I at on time? I'm gonna turn around. It just started raining. But anyway, so some friend walked over when we were down there, and we were actually tailgating at a different place at that point too, like, or than we had the year before. And so this friend came over and was like, oh, we should go to the stadium. And Alex was like, babe, do you want to go over and see the stadium? And I was like, yeah, sure. And this is the other thing too that I think is important for people to know, because people ask a lot about our relationship. Like, Tanya and I were talking about this the other day, and she said, Alex doesn't get enough credit. I think sometimes, like, people don't really know. She was like, out of all of our husbands and partners and stuff, she was like, Alex has been the one that knows the most about sobriety and recovery and has learned the most. And I think a lot of it is because of marriage counseling and because our counselor was so well versed in recovery. But Alex really, really does. And at any of these times that I felt uncomfortable, if I had said, babe, I want to leave, Alex would have left like that. It was all on me. And that's where I say, like, you know, people, when, like, you have situations with, like, YouTubers, people are talking about, like, you know, using and things like that. And it's like, listen, nobody else is responsible for my recovery. Nobody else is responsible for my sobriety. Nobody else can make me use. Nobody else can make me stay in a situation that I don't want to, right? But I always knew that anytime I wanted to go, I could have left right then, and Alex would have left. No questions asked. You know, and so it was always me pushing the limits and staying in these environments I didn't want to be in. So anyway, we were there, and one of Alex's friends was like, that he hadn't seen in a while. He's like, hey, I'm gonna go try to find so-and-so. There was some big grilling out thing, or they had concession stands over where, like, and there was like there was some concession stand they used to all go to. I don't know what it was. It was like gyros or something like that. I never pronounced that word right. My battery is dying. But anyway, it was something like that. And so they wanted to go over there and have them because they hadn't had them in a while and whatever. So, and they were going to meet up with some other people. Well, ever since I was a little kid, I mean, I went down there with my dad and my mom and, you know, whatever. I think my mom and Susie maybe one time, I don't remember. But I didn't remember, like, going to the stadium, you know, the football stadium. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's walk over there. So we walked over there. And it was a mess. I mean, it was literally a mess. And it was like all these people going in, and they were so wasted. And it wasn't college kids. It was like grown adults. And people, like, shouting words at us. It was like derogatory words that people were shouting at. I mean, I'm literally in, like, jeans and a IU t-shirt, you know, and we're getting called the most horrific names, and people are falling over on themselves. And literally, like, I feel like tailgating and blood should go unanimous, because synonymous, because is that the word I'm looking for? There's always, like, people fighting and, like, you know, people having bloody noses, and it's a lot. And I'm like, what am I doing? And I remember then I did say to Alex, like, when we got the food, I said, let's finish this food and let's get out of here. Like, I need to go. And after then, I was like, no, tailgating is not for me. The racetrack, not for me. There's a lot of places I can't go, you know? So a lot of our friends have boats. Tanya actually has a boat. She always asks me to go out on the boat every summer, which I'm going to do this summer. But, like, I've been out on her boat in Tennessee, but here, like, when she takes her boat out, I haven't been on it. And it's been a while. So, have I ever been out on her boat here? If I have, it's maybe been, like, once. But anyway, but our friends go, and they, like, all cruise on the boat. And they go to this place called Cocktail Cove, which is actually, incidentally, kind of like right across from where my dad lives, which is interesting. But they're always like, you guys come out on the boat. Now, Alex doesn't even like to go do that, because then you're trapped on somebody's boat and they're drinking literally all day. See, I still enjoy that, all these activities that are centered around drinking, you know? And I don't think that's just a sobriety thing, because I have friends of mine that can do it and they enjoy it. I just don't love it anymore, you know? And I don't have an issue with people drinking around me. I don't even have an issue with people getting a little buzzed or, you know, a little, you know, turned on from their alcohol. Have at it. But I don't want to deal with the belligerentness of, like, the hardcore drinking. I don't like it. So, at the end of my story, the story is, I don't love St. Patrick's Day. And I realized I have no business going out on St. Patrick's Day. So today it was really funny because I didn't even really think much about it other than to wear a green shirt. And then when Alex texted me and he was like, we're going to go to Wolfie's. And then he texted me, he's like, do you want me to bring you any food? And I'm like, they're not even like... This is where I don't understand it as an alcoholic. I'm like, they're not even drinking. He's like, do you want me to bring you any food? He was like, I just had the best chicken fingers and breadsticks in the entire world. Their breadsticks are so good. And I was like, no, babe, I'm totally good. But that's where Tanya and I go a lot after meetings, is this restaurant called Wolfie's. So they went there. Wolfie's. So they went there tonight. But anyway, that's why I don't go to St. Patrick's Day stuff anymore, because I just don't have any business being there, you know? It's more important for me to be, you know, happy and content and peaceful and serene than try to put myself in situations that I just do not belong. And you know what? And that was an acceptance piece for me that just was so easy. It just was like, I mean, it wasn't so easy, but once I got it, like, it was hard. I was resistant to it, but once I got it, and I was like, it just was so easy. Now I don't have a problem saying no. Now I try to suit up and show up for the things I... Okay, I'm back. I had to pull into, my battery died, obviously. I had to pull into this bank to change the battery. I actually was texting Alex too. I was like, telling him I was done vlogging if he needed anything. And it was so funny because on my new phones, you know, like, I don't know if it doesn't have stored, you know, like when you like autocorrect a certain word and then it starts, like, you know, just doing it for you. I don't know if that's like smartphones or whatever. But it's funny because now I have a new phone and it doesn't have that autocorrect. I mean, it has autocorrect, but it doesn't have it like the ones that I'm used to using. And so vlogging always goes to blogging. And so I was like trying to change it. And then he texted me and he said, okay, he was like FaceTiming with Amy. And then he said Maya, because that's his cousin Maya. And I was like, oh my God, the FaceTime, or the autocorrect on our phones isn't fixed yet. Haha is always gaga, by the way. But anyway, I wanted to finish that and say, you know, like, this extends past, you know, I have to tell you, actually what I was going to get on here today and talk about, I'd done this Peterisms video about hope earlier, and, you know, that sometimes hope is all you have kind of thing when you're going through really tough times in your life, and hope has always been something that I've really leaned on, and that hope is something that other people, I think, can give you as well, and I was going to talk about that. So it's kind of interesting that I ended up talking about this whole St. Patrick's Day thing, but I think that it's a good lesson, and not just for people that are sober, you know? I think in life, it's a good lesson because I've applied it to myself and other things as well. Like I said, like, I suit up and show up for the things I have to show up for, like weddings, funerals, you know, baby showers, you know, bridal showers, birthdays, like that kind of stuff. The important events, right? But let's just be for real. And if those things are even in places that I don't feel comfortable, I don't go. And my friends today that I have, the ones that aren't sober, they get that. They understand today that if something that they're having is in a place that I don't feel comfortable going or whatever, or if I'm not in the right mental state to go, and that's a big part of it as well, you know? That, and I have to be careful as a person that has social anxiety to not use that as an excuse. But I always check, like, what's my spiritual foundation today for whatever I'm going to, you know? That could even be a meeting in recovery, you know? Like, am I in a position today to be around other people? You know, am I being snappy at others? Like, I ask myself those questions, you know, am I being kind? Am I, you know, being compassionate towards others? And if not, I gotta get right-sized and, you know, correct myself real quick and pray on it and let it go and start my day over, you know? But that's the question that I ask myself before I go to things, is like, am I in the right mental state, the right emotional state today to go into stuff? You know, it's like, think that's been one of the greatest lessons I've learned in the last couple years is I don't have to say no to everything, but like, but I do have to take care of myself first, because if I don't, it will affect other people and it will affect me, you know? And so I have to ask myself in whatever I'm engaging in, like, is it going to this thing more important than my having a healthy state mentally or emotionally, you know? Or, you know, and that can be anything from, you know, like back in the day, like getting into it with people on Twitter. I don't enjoy that. Like, that's not fun for me. The emotional roller coaster that goes along with that. I don't want that today. I don't like it, you know? And I don't have to today. I just don't have to. Do I think it's real exciting? Probably not for people that like to watch all that on Twitter go down, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not stupid. I'm aware that, you know, people like to see drama channels, like always have an opinion about stuff and, you know, always put that out there on, you know, Twitter and whatever, but I don't like what goes along with that. I just don't enjoy it. And I think, you know, as far as just in my personal life, I gotta ask myself every single day, and maybe several times a day, and this is where my pause button comes in, like, how healthy am I right now, you know? And I think it's a really good question for all of us to ask ourselves, like, am I in a position, because honestly, in the past, when I have been reactionary towards other people, or snapped at other people, or used hurtful words at other people, or been angry at other people, like, and reacted in anger, it really has nothing to do with them. If I was completely honest, and looking at my, you know, self in the past, in that moment, it really had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me and who I was in that moment, you know? And people that act out and react out in anger, it's because they're hurt, and hurt people hurt people. I don't want to be a hurt person today, you know? I don't want to react out of anger and mad, being mad, and, you know, wanting somebody else to hurt the same way. So I got to ask myself questions today, you know, like, am I in a position to be, you know, showing up to this bridal shower, or am I in a position to, you know, this or whatever? And so I think it's an important question to ask myself, you know, how am I doing today? And being honest with myself, being willing to be honest with myself, you know, maybe, and it's okay. Like, it is, and this is the thing, you don't have to be okay. You do not have to be okay every single hour of every single day. You have the right, and I didn't get this for a long time, right? You have the right to be angry. You have the right to have your feelings, but feelings aren't facts. You have a right to have your emotions. You have a right to be hurt, okay? And you have a right to all of those different feelings and emotions that are out there in the world. Even if they're completely unjustifiable and they're wrong, right? You have a right to all of that. What I don't want to do, though, today is affect other people by that. I don't want to, you know, hurt the people around me, or, you know, say something snappy or whatever. Like, I just don't, you know? And and I think it's important to be aware of that, you know, and say, like, okay, well, how am I doing today, you know? So anyway, and I'm not always great at that. I don't always do it. You know, sometimes I think I'm doing better than I am. And then in retrospect, I'm like, well, you know what? Like, you know, maybe you need to say a few more prayers and a few more gratitude things today. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So anyway, this is kind of an all-over vlog today. I didn't expect to go down that road and talk about that stuff. But I think it's good for people that are in recovery to hear, to make them feel so not all alone, because when I went through it, I really felt like, God, everybody can handle stuff except for me. I'm the only one. Why can't I handle this stuff? You know, why can my friends go to these things and I can't? The reality was they weren't. Tanya wasn't going to the racetrack or tailgating, or, you know what I mean? She wasn't going to St. Patrick's Day parties. She just wasn't. You know, she was always having 4th of July parties at her house with sober people. You know, she wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, and here I was trying to live as a sober person in a using world. And I have to do that every day anyway, and I can't expect the world to be sober. Like, somebody said that to me on a video like a while ago. They said, you know, something like, you expect people to be sober. No, I absolutely don't, you know? I can't expect people to be sober. But I also can't expect that I'm gonna thrive in a world where I'm surrounded by that all the time, you know, which is why it's so important for my husband and I to have really honest conversations about stuff, you know, and we have, and it's magnificent today, in a way. And I don't talk much about this, but like my ex, like he drank and stuff, but when we got together, he just like stopped drinking completely. Just stopped drinking, never had a drink at it, you know, at a bar after maybe the first 2 months or something like that. But we never talked about it either. You know, we never talked about, you know, and I was only going to 1 or maybe 2 meetings a week at that time. And we never talked about, well, towards the end, I was only going to 1 or 2 meetings a week. We never talked about how it, you know, like, it just was absent. And so then I got into this relationship where it was present, and like I wasn't telling Alex, you know, that like this is fearful for me. And so he didn't know, you know. And I think the one thing that is our responsibility as people in recovery is we have to communicate to our friends, family, and our partners what is going on with us. People are not mind readers. People are not, you know, they're not fortune tellers. They cannot figure out what is going on with us. And that's not a sobriety thing. That's just a life thing. Like, people cannot read our minds. And so I literally cannot see. This person is honking at me to go. I don't know why. They don't just go. But anyway, oh, because they're turning into that place. But people are not mind readers. And I think often in life, we expect people to be mind readers about how we're feeling. They're not, you know, and we have to say to people like, hey, look, this is how I feel. And I kept it all stuffed inside. And, you know, but for the grace of God, I didn't pick up. But for the grace of God, because I can tell you right now, if I had, you wouldn't be listening to me on this video. I wouldn't be here. And that's scary to me, you know. It's real scary to me. That my pride and my need to be involved in something, because I thought, I can remember when I said this to Alex, like in counseling, and he looked at me and he said, babe, I was never going anywhere. I felt like if I wasn't there and I couldn't keep up, then why would he want to be there? You know, and he looked at me with tears in his eyes and he said, why didn't you ever tell me? You know, he said, I was never going anywhere, you know, I would have stopped going out if you didn't want me to, you know? I think I came so close, you know, really. I don't remember any incidents where I thought I was going to, but like, I was so like, I had no emotional sobriety, I had no spiritual foundation, and I was just, you know. And so, that's why it's just so important for me today to go to meetings, to be active in meetings, to, you know, have friends, strong support network, and a sponsor that I love to work with, and do inventory and continue to grow and work on myself, because I don't ever want to get back to there again, you know? And it's like today I'm at like the total opposite of that. You know, I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. I say that a lot. My old sponsor used to say that, and I say it a lot because I really, it's just cemented and it resonates in my heart that I feel that so strongly, you know, that I just have this amazing, amazing life, you know, and the fact that I am able to get on video and even say these things that I couldn't have said 8 years ago, you know, or 10 years ago. I couldn't have got on video and said these things. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed, you know? And even though I wasn't using, I wasn't really, like, I had no emotional sobriety. I wasn't really sober, you know? Like, I just was not using. But I wasn't replacing that void, or I wasn't replacing the stuff in my life with healthy things. I was just, you know, trying to do it on my own, and that's treading water. I mean, it really is. But for the grace of God, I'm here, you know? And I feel blessed, and I feel absolutely blessed. So, man, I've gone all over the place tonight on this vlog. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here now. I feel good though after talking about that. I feel good. So I'm gonna get off here now, and I'm gonna make a real short exit. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! And you know, anytime that I do a real short exit, I have to come back and say, one more, I love you. I love you guys so much, and I love Annie Lennox too. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!